Hello all, Old Geek here, and in this video I'm going to be browsing through The Dragon issue 26. This is from June 1979. It's volume 3, number 12, still has a cover price of $2. Firstly, a little apology if there's any coughing and spluttering and growling, and if I wander off and start talking a load of nonsense. Well, that happens anyway. Then I'm a bit lurgied. A little bit lurgied up. Right, here we go. I rant regularly about the quality of the Dragon's covers and the presentation of the text on the cover and the fonts used and things like that, and it's a fact. At this point in 1979, White Dwarf is doing this side of the business much, much better. The contents of the magazines, the Dragon has had some really good magazines lately, but the presentation is still poor. And this cover, what looks to be a photograph of a layout of a historical battle with this crude overlay of Napoleonic forces. I believe they're Napoleonic. It's an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess. At least the text at the bottom is easy to read, though. They've put it on a part of the cover where the contrast is okay. But right, speaking of mess, Ralpatha have changed their advert, and it's for the better. Thank you, Ralpatha. Finally. Much better advert. You can actually see the figures now. It actually jumps off the page a lot better. The little things make a noticeable difference. Well, you know what does make a noticeable difference? Making a decent ad. And yeah, you can see the detail on these figures here. Well, part of the figures were great. And finally an ad that actually shows that. Okay, the contents page. Now we are up to 48 page long issues. Another, because it's now monthly, 48 pages, and this is an advantage that they've got over White Dwarf, in that putting out 3 times as many pages, because White Dwarf is currently bi-monthly 32 pages, they're able to get a better spread of articles. And from what I've seen so far, the quality of the articles hasn't dropped, which is always a worry when they try and pad it out with too much. So good. And here you've got Napoleonics. Okay, that's the reason for the cover. Giants in the Earth, fictitious heroes. D&D, AD&D and gaming. How to make a lich. Dragon's bestiary. What of the skinnies? Starship Troopers. Chinese undead. Boot Hill. Alignment. Ooh, like the touch paper there. Might have to read that one. Deck of Fate, the tarot deck in D&D. Empire the Petal Throne birth table. See, already you've got Starship Troopers, you've got D&D, you've got Empire the Petal Throne, you've got Napoleonics. So it's very much a complete hobby magazine at this point. If you get a few more cuts in this video than usual, there are a few cars going past, but I do have to keep dampening my palate because I'm going a little dry. Designers Forum, System 7. I don't know much about anything about System 7. Lords and Wizards, placement of the castles. Solar Berserker for William the Conqueror. Hirelings have feelings too. Notes from a very successful D&D moderator. I await to see whether there's a hint of arrogance that article. Impromptu adventuring groups, putting one together. The Thief, a deadly annoyance. And then you got reviews. Ah, right. System 7. Oh, System 7, the company that do the Napoleonics. Okay. Dragon's Augury. Mercenary. Battle of Monmouth. Okay. Humour. Mugger. Bizarre role-playing for today. Caption contest winners. Phineas Fingers. Where's Wormy? Background. D-Day, 35 years later. How far is it now? 80 years now? Wow. Wow. D&D meets the electronic age. Okay. Right. Okay. Tim Kask. This issue marks the beginning of the new assistant editor's tenure, and his touch is already evident. I won't detail his innovations, nor will I detail which are mine. Right, so that's how they're managing to do the 48-page monthly. There's now got 2 editors, but still, look, editorial being split onto page 30, 39. Assistant editor, Gay Jacquet. Publisher, E. Gay Gygax. Was the R not working on the keyboard when this was laid out? A little bit of trolling, I'm guessing. Origins 79. I do hope this bit... No, I'm just going to highlight it. Just hope this bit was intentional, because if it's a typo, it's not a good look. For the first time you've got 2 editors. I don't know. We might find out whether it's a bit of trolling. Gen Con 12 status report. Judges wanted for Gen Con 12. Judges events wanted for Gen Con 12. Okay. Convention schedule. All American. Yeah, all American. I could have just looked at these as a kid and just dreamed. Back issue availability. Volumes 1 and 2 are now completely out of print. Sorry. A rock. Yeah, you see a lot of them in the mountains. Yeah. McLean on form. Miniatures Meet Boards by T.J. Kask. Some years ago, while I was at the university, I was indoctrinated into miniatures play. I fast became addicted, and my armies of fantasy figures grew rapidly. Then one fateful day, I was invited to participate in a Napoleonic battle. Right, okay. So this is this System 7, this colour thing here. Okay. Right. So what's all this colour stuff about? Dunno. Right, I see he's rambling about the price. The price of miniatures. $2,600. That was very... It's expensive now. But that's very expensive then. System 7. Napoleonic miniatures no longer mean a second mortgage. So here's the answer to that. What's the difference? Are they sort of little cardboard pieces? Actually, if we go back to the cover, I'm guessing it's these. There you go. So the cover is an advert for System 7 stuff. Right. Still a crap cover. I don't play historical miniatures war games. I do, as I've said in previous videos, I do like reading about the history of big battles and stuff, but I don't play the games. Games Designers Workshop, Imperium, that's an advert. Okay, there's Traveller, Belter, never heard of that. Double Star, Snapshot, never heard of those either. Right, we are continuing. Now, it's good that this article is running through the pages rather than being cut and moved to the back of the magazine. But there, having said that straight away, a review continued from page 6. But that is the review of the game itself, right? And it's a positive review. Definitely a good investment for a Napoleonic gamer or for those interested in becoming one. So, yeah, it looks like it's a game where they've seen the eye-watering cost and gone, right, let's change that. What matters is that it's playable, but if something is affordable as well, that obviously helps. Giants, classic heroes from fiction and literature. Jack Vance's Hugel the Clever. Carl Edward Wagner's Kane. So they're not giants as such, they are just high-level heroes. And look, for game purposes of these heroes, Dexterity 18 gives +4, 1800. So they're introducing stats going above the 3 to 18 range, which of course Deities and Demigods then went on to do as well. And a lot of this sort of thing appeared in Deities and Demigods. It's a little bit of a precursor. Mentioning Deities and Demigods, sad to hear about Jim Ward, who of course was the main man behind Deities and Demigods. Rest in peace, Jim. Talbot Mundy's Tross of Samothrace. 15th level Paladin. Look at these stats. Yeah. These are big heroes though, aren't they? Big heroes. I mean, I've not read the works that these have come from, so I don't know them, but some of you may. And what of the Skinnies, a Starship Troopers variant? Starship Troopers sci-fi. Keep on going, John. Placement of castles. A common misconception felt among Lord and Wizard players is a false sense of security or advantage to be gained by building a castle in a city hex. Clearly it's talking about a specific game, but just in my head, the verisimilitude of building a castle within a city. Going back, settlements frequently grew up around castles. Castles were built in very defensible locations or hubs for trade where they could control the routes, and settlements would grow up around them. Those settlements may then become cities. Also a castle. Castles are often very poorly represented in fantasy, because look at a map, for example, of Warwick Castle. A map of the castle, about 90% of the castle area is uncovered. It's the courtyard. The actual bit we think of as the castle is quite small. Well, comparatively to the size of the courtyard. Warwick Castle's massive, but the courtyard is huge. And that seems to be neglected in most fantasy castles I've seen. It's just the focus is on the main keep, but the castle itself is all of it. There isn't really room to build that all of it in a city, so you just build the keep. Anyway, that's me rambling. Probably nothing to do with the game. Hey ho. 35th anniversary of D-Day Remembered, June the 6th, 1944. What were the names of the beaches? Sword, Gold, Omaha. Why can I not remember the others? Sword, Gold, Omaha. I used to be able to reel them off. I've forgotten the other two. Oh, the embarrassment. They'll come to me. They'll come to me. Solo Berserker game for William the Conqueror 1066. Okay. Solitaire combat rules for William the Conqueror 1066. Okay. Berserker attack was a major military tactics used by the ancient Vikings. Didn't do Harold Hardrada any good in 1066. Because, of course, Harold II of England kicked his ass, then marched for 2 weeks down to the village of Battle near Hastings and nearly beat William the Conqueror as well. Hadn't it been for a little bit of ill discipline. So, yeah. Yeah, Vikings. You lost that one. Chinese Undead by David Sweet. But these are quite freaky. Lower Soul, Lost Soul, Vampire Spectre. Sea Bonds, is that? Celestial Stag. Goat Demon. Which are the most powerful? Vampire Spectres are the most powerful. Goat Demons are quite weak. Goat Demons are spooky. Yes. Close ranks, men, and brace yourselves for wandering monsters. I hear the sounds of six-sided dice rolling. A useful part of a DM's armory. One of the reasons for DMing from behind a screen. Dice. Uh-oh. He's rolling dice. Best get a move on. Dice roll probably meant nothing. Served its purpose. Right, more adverts. Boot Hill, additions, revisions and trivia. Fast exact hit location chart. MW, Mortal Wound. So you got Mortal Wounds on roll of 50, 67 to 70, 80 to 85, and it's roughly about 20% chance of a Mortal Wound. That's rough. Okay, this is an article I'm looking forward to. Another view of the 9-point alignment scheme. They're giving sort of examples of what they might do. I've done a video on this. I'm currently playing the Palladium game as well, which of course has a very interesting alignment system. Let's see what they say. Lawful good will keep their word if they give it. Would not attack an unarmed foe. Will not use poison. Will help those in need. Prefers to work with others. Responds well to higher authority. Trustful organisations. So keeping their word is a good trait. Not using poison is a good trait. Not attacking an unarmed foe is a good trait. Helping those in need can be both lawful and good. Prefers to work with others, that's lawful. Responds well to higher authorities, lawful. Trustful organisations, lawful. Lawful neutral will keep their word if they give it. May attack an unarmed foe, may use poison, may help. There's a difference. May. I think of lawful neutral as being stricter than lawful good. More of an adherence to the structure. Adherence to the law. Lawful evil will keep their work if they give it. Is that an intentional typo? Or is it will keep their word if they give it? Yeah, but they'll be slow to give their word. So if they give it is the key there. Would attack an unarmed foe. Yeah, generally, if they've got something to gain from it, will use poison. Will not help those in need. Well, I can think of many times, certainly one occasion, where a lawful evil person will help someone in need, and that's if other people are watching. Because a key facet of lawful evil is climbing the social structure and gaining those positions of power. And of course, politically, if you are seen to give help out, I mean, you could do good deeds with evil motives. Prefers to work with others, prefers to use others, I would say, would be better there. Responds well to higher authority. Yeah. They know their place in the structure, but they're always trying to move up that organisation. Trustful organisations. Yeah, well, again, it's down to the motives. The selfishness of the evil means that they will use the organisation to get what they want. But yes, they will trust that they could use that as a method. While I don't fully agree with the specifics that are being given on here, I like what they've done here with this article, because it shows the use of the will, may not, will not. Those are, that shows the variation. There's 7 points for each one regarding keeping their word, unarmed foes, poison, helping the needy, working with others, and attitude towards authority and organisations. And by simply changing the first line of the sentence, the first couple of words of the sentence, they're changing the meaning. And that's a good way of doing it. That is a good way of doing it, even if you might disagree with the specific points made. Deck of Fate. I found it interesting and enlivening item, a quasi-occult variant on the Deck of Many Things. This sort of thing, of course, adds a lot of flavour to the game, and if you're interested in the mythology and the mysticism side of it all, an article like this could be very, very helpful. So there's a series of random tables associated with the cards. Yeah, good, as long as things work in the table. I'm not studying it in any great degree here, but these are things I like. I do like it. D&D meets the electronic age. Well, a subtitle to the original Dungeons & Dragons rules set states that it is a fantasy role-playing game playable with paper and pencil and miniature figures. To many fanatics of the game and its genre, the equipment to use has gone far beyond that point. Remember, this is 1979. The home computers were very much in their infancy, and already the nerds are trying to bring in technology to the table. I might sound hypocritical because, of course, I do. This is all going out through YouTube. I play a lot of games through Discord, which, of course, has microphone, PC, all that sort of stuff. But I still prefer to sit down at a good old-fashioned wooden table with handfuls of plastic dice, paper, pencils, and people in front of me. And I would rather that nobody at that table had any form of electronic device on their person, because they're distracting. I think electronic character sheets can be a pain. And I just prefer what I feel is the authenticity of playing the game at its most basic form. Yes, that makes me an old dinosaur. I fully accept that description. We all have our preferences. Play the game how you want to play it. That's how I prefer to play RPGs most of the time. But, having said that, I do thoroughly enjoy playing games on Discord. It does have its issues, but certain games, certainly Call of Cthulhu, I think works very, very well over Discord with the voices. More atmosphere. Hirelings have feelings too. Yeah, they do. And if you treat them badly, then you get bad reaction rolls, and they cost more next time. And word gets around that you're a poor boss. People don't want to work for you, that sort of thing. And if you treat them well, give them gifts, then they'll say, "He's good. He's good." But for that to really work, the DM does have to bring in the rules regarding morale and reactions, and not everybody does. But no, I like it when you get to know your hirelings and you start to treat them as people. Notes from a very successful D&D moderator by Michael Crane. In recent issues of The Dragon, we moderators have had to listen to the cute tricks of various D&D players who are apparently successful. This is all fine, but I think it's about time we moderators share some of our good tricks with one another. Determined to right this wrong, if this is published, that is, I've decided to divulge some of my dark moderating secrets to all of you deprived moderators out there. Why moderators? Dungeon masters, games masters, game masters, referees. Why moderator? I think moderator's an odd term. It sounds a little detached to me. From the Sorcerer's Scroll, D&D, AD&D and Gaming by Gary Gygax. Notice his name is spelt correctly here. Adventures of the cerebral type have been with us for as long as mankind has told tales around campfires. Role-playing is at least as old as this too, if one considers early religious or quasi-religious rites. Both advanced in form of the Golden Age of Greece, assuming forms which are close to those of today. How modern era adventure games came into being is connected to all of this, for they owe their existence to D&D, a fact which cannot be disputed. Well, Gygax has employed his usual tone here, but he's not wrong. I mean, objectively, he is not wrong, as D&D popularised it. But we do know that Braunstein and Chainmail came beforehand. So, and of course, Arneson was running Blackmore. But the mere fact that D&D popularised it is what gave rise to the surge of games that appeared in the late 70s. But it's a fact. Let's move on. Let's move on. Right, these are votings. Voting. Odd plural. Votings. Voting. Votes. 5th Annual Strategist Club Awards for Creativity in Wargaming. Let's see what names we've got on here. Well, there's Gamma World. Don't know any of those. There's RuneQuest and Gamma World. The Dragon. White Dwarf has been nominated. Okay. We'll find out the results later in the year. Well, in a few weeks' time, I guess. It's not just my dodgy throat that's causing the number of odd cuts in this video. There's two reasons. One is that there we go, you hear one of them. My quiet little estate feels like it's being used as a main road in Birmingham today. the amount of cars that are going past. And next door has got a lady who lives next door has got a 1-year-old golden retriever, and it's a nice day outside. So this excitable pup is running around the garden, woofing at inopportune moments. She's a lovely dog, though. She's lovely, but ho hum, she's out there to try me. Mugger. Right, this is under the comedy thing at the start. This last decade has spawned a plethora of role-playing simulation games. Dungeons & Dragons, of course, is the eldest and foremost. The classic fantasy game. As such, it has opened the doors to at least a dozen imitations, hybrids and bastardizations, some good, some fair, some unmentionable. It does feel in this issue that everything is like, look at all this good stuff happening, but it's all happening because of Dungeons & Dragons, aren't we great? It does feel a bit like that. Okay, so this is a game called Mugger, right? Right. Each player will assume the role of one mugger, hereafter referred to as Mugger, the basic unit of play. The mugger gains experience points through completing successful muggings and grabbing loot. The game is run by an MM, or Mugger Master, who lays out the game map and rolls the dice to determine events and outcomes. A good Mugger map will incorporate such typical urban features as alleys, shadowy doorways, parks, large hedges, trash cans, what's a honky tank? No idea what a honky tank is. Blue movie houses? Sadly, I know what those are. And street lights, both working and non-working models. Could this be fun? Has any of you played it? Any of you played it? Any of you managed to get yourself up to Congressman, the highest level of mugger? Clod, creep, punk, crumb, tough, hood, thug, crook, criminal, arch-criminal, master criminal, and congressman. Birth, tables and social status, Empire of the Petal Throne. Okay, wasn't there an article previous issue about birth status in D&D? So it's just sort of adapting it for EPT, isn't it? Right. Okay, moving on. Blueprint for a Lich by Len Lakofka. Ooh, how to become a Lich. Yes, I shall be reading this later. Heh, heh, heh. Putting together a party on the spur of the moment. Random party rolling. Cool? Cool? No problem with that. NPC parties are a great way of adding flavour to dungeons. Or if you need characters in a hurry. A lot of adventures, of course, had pre-generated characters in them. Something I was meaning to do a video on today, but I'm not sure my voice would like that, and as you can tell, it's a bit noisy outside to be doing any recording beyond this sort of thing. Strength comparison table. Monster equivalent strength. Bugbear 20. Oh, that's the equivalent of 1890. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's all on a scale, isn't it? Because you've got Storm Giants and Titans up at 27 here. Of course, there were 24 Storm Giants, 25 Titans in AD&D. Alright, here we go. Here's the caption contest. Winning entry. So I said stop or I'll shoot, stop or I'll shoot, stop or I'll shoot. I would like to speak with the DM privately for a moment. Stoicism at its best. And I can't read the honourable mentions because they're all far too small. Okay. Right, this is the editorial continuing from page 1. Few words from Gary Jacket. Oh, this is where this is all sort of the end of previous articles. They're all bundling them on one page. I suppose that's better than just scattering them, bundling them all together. Tribes of Crane. What's this? Are these reviews? War of Frozen North, a review of Ice War. Okay. Semi-reviews, semi-adverts. The Dragon's Augury, Mercenary. Battle of Monmouth. Grenadier Figure Packs. Battle Sphere, game review. Dragon's Bestiary. The Barguest. I like Barguests. Barguests are probably one of my favourite creatures from the Monster Manual too. I like the way that they could advance, and I like the general aesthetic of them. They could be very intelligent, ongoing villains. Good stuff. Phineas Fingers. Ooh, nudity. Oh, nudity. Bare cheeks. Right, this is the rest of the review of Battle Sphere. The Thief, a deadly annoyance. Thieves are quite possibly the most misused class in D&D. Many players seem to think all thieves are good for is picking pockets and climbing walls. In dungeons, to hang from the ceiling by their toes while shooting crossbows and dodging sword strokes right and left. Thieves belong in the city. My opinion is thieves are incredibly versatile and belong anywhere where there is loot. Cities, of course, fine, but they do have a specific role in a dungeon. And particularly, use them as scouts, particularly demi-humans with the ability to see heat. They can at least see a little ahead of themselves, so they don't have to give away their location. Elves, halflings, make superb dungeoneering thieves. Gnomes and dwarves have their affinities towards locks and traps. Humans blend into the city. I mean, a lot of us have been guilty of misusing thieves, thinking of them as melee combatants when in reality they're not. They're not. I mean, the fighter thief, an elven fighter thief or a halfling fighter thief, I think is a great, really useful character to have, and potentially very flavourful. It's a combination I rather like, but I don't. The problem is, certainly newer versions of D&D, the thought is towards damage output, and thieves have been turned into almost a standard thief in 5e is very much what we looked at back in the day in AD&D 1e and 2e as a fighter thief, a balance of combat and subterfuge abilities, whereas the AD&D thief, the pure AD&D thief and D&D was, forget about the combat, a bit of ranged, maybe the occasional backstab that's cleverly set up. But your role in that dungeon is different. Your role is that of scout. You are there to find information. And information is crucial. And occasionally to get places where the other characters cannot. Right, let's moving on. That's page 47. So, a bit more of the mugger. And there's the final page. Oh, there is a back one here. It's an advert for a game called Divine Right. And it's a better piece of art than the front cover. Simple as that. Okay. Thoughts on this issue? If I can use my mouse correctly to scroll back to the top. Awful cover. Thank you, Alpartha, for listening to me 45 years before I'm saying this. This issue has got a very, very wide spread of articles. And I think it's interesting. There's quite a lot in here that really is not to do with the type of games I play. But you've got a broad spread of articles. You've got a load of helpful articles. And the main road is 100 yards that way. Piss off and use it instead of using my road. Sorry, lost my flow there due to passing traffic. Again. As I was saying, there's a very, very broad variety of articles, a broad variety of topics, and the Dragon is very much placing itself now as a magazine for all nerds. Simple as that. Sci-fi, historical, fantasy, games ideas, games adaptations, all that sort of stuff. It's a very, very complete magazine now. And with hopefully the addition of the new extra editor will help. I do quite like that. Yes, they're still breaking up the articles, but they've moved all those bits, most of the bits, to one page rather than have it all the way through the magazine. And there's a lot of content. There's a lot of content to read through, so obviously that's why they've got two editors. There are a few typos, such as, publisher E-Gay Gygax. I can't help but think, is that a joke? Is that meant to be a bit of humour? But, hey-ho. Just sort out the covers, please. Please, it's a sad state of affairs when a piece of art for the back cover is more appealing than what you've used for the front cover. Anyway, Dragon. Very, very strong, becoming a very, very strong magazine. I like it. I've been the old geek, frustrated, exasperated with all the background noises. But, hey-ho, such is life in the attic. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.